Okay. Cool. Welcome to MTG Militia Madness. We are going to be doing a deck tech for Gut this week, and his background will be Agent of Shadow Thieves. That's going to be less relevant, but let's go over what Gut does to start off what this deck will be all about. Gut, True Soul Zealot. He is a 2/2 with no abilities besides, whenever you attack, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, create a 4/1 black skeleton creature token with menace that's tapped and attacking, which that is a real big body. And notably, it does not say whenever Gut attacks. It's whenever you attack at all.
Yeah, you don't have to put Gut in danger to make the skeleton.
Yeah, and that is going to be very relevant when we come down to like what our creature base looks like. Now, there are a couple black backgrounds, and this is obviously going to be an artifact deck, so that's why I need to be red-black. Why I chose Agent of Shadow Thieves specifically is it's 2 mana, it can come down the turn before you play Gut if you have a really bad curve. And second of all, it says, commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponents have more life than that player, which I only have one opponent, that'll never be different, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. It gains Death Touch and Indestructible until end of turn, which means, say I don't have a good small guy to attack with on a turn, I can just get in with Gut, it's now indestructible, and I can generate my skeleton real nicely. And that lines up well enough that it was better than the other options that did very little, like Criminal Past.
Yeah, which counts graveyard stuff.
Yep. And then so to start off with what this deck is all about, I'm just going to get into our rocks and artifacts, which is we have a lot of things that say when they die, draw a card or just draw a card immediately. And that's what this is centering around heavily. So that's going to be the big focus of that. These are all the 1-drop options. Then I got the 2-drop options here, which will be very important because Ichor Wellspring, Mephitic Draught, these will be turning things into Ancestral Recalls or just getting value when they come into play and draw or exit. We got Eerie Gravestone here, which is a new inclusion. It used to be Prophetic Prism, so they're still mainly doing the function of when it enters, draw a card, and then I'll sack it for a different purpose. But this also gives me the option to sack it off itself if I have a hand where I don't have many other options to sack with.
Prophetic Prism, I think, would be better in a 3-color version, where you need to filter the mana, but this activated ability does a lot more than filtering a mana.
Then we got Limbus as another option for that. And then out of the 1-drops, the best ones are generally Blood Fountain and Experimental Synthesizer, because this one does its effect when it enters and when it leaves, and can sometimes make you a Samurai. Not going to happen too often, but it's there. Blood Fountain coming in, making its blood very relevant, because that's 2 artifacts on 1 card. And its actual ability is very relevant to bring back stuff from the graveyard, like Mirror Enforcer and other big guys that can actually be real threats, rather than just sitting around if you have exhausted most of your threats.
Yeah, it's nice to see Experimental Synthesizer finally get Stay in the Sun, because this when it came out, it was a very big player in the Pauper format.
Yep, and then we just have 4 assorted cards that are 1 mana and say when they leave the battle, or when they go to the graveyard, draw a card.
Yeah, it's whatever.
What these are don't super matter. I just picked the ones that felt the best to me.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will help fix my mana a little bit if I am having a little bit of trouble, because it can happen. Not common. Can happen. And also have the option to sack themselves if I don't hit anything, so they can just bail themselves out really nicely. And that's that for the rocks, except for what I do have are the 2 that don't draw anything here, which are Tithing Blade and Grimbauble. Occasionally Grimbauble will surveil you, but it's mainly here to just be a removal spell and then sit until I can sack it. Same for Tithing Blade. But I have had some games where I do craft this from my graveyard, craft this with stuff from my graveyard, and then take over a little bit. So
it's nice to have a main board plan against Control decks or Omega. This wrecks Omega. Omega can never beat this in time, so there's stuff.
Yeah. And so that's it for the rocks going there. So I'll set these off to the side. And
I think it's interesting because by this point in time, they've seen hopefully you've seen. If you haven't, go check it out. The Ferja deck tech.
Yeah.
And to see the difference of the artifacts that we're playing. Because we're playing different artifact decks, right?
But we're playing all the same draw spells.
Yeah, these are the... Well, these are just the... I mean, this got banned in regular Pauper for a reason, right? These are just very efficient. They're very, very good. Yep. Especially when they're drawing you 3 cards.
Exactly.
Or they're sacrificing a piece of junk that doesn't mean anything.
Yep, and that's what I'm trying to take as much advantage as possible doing, because this is one of the things that makes this deck not full aggro, even though I'm very built like an aggro deck, is these will just mean that even though I've exhausted most of my resources, 1 or 2 cards can bring me right back into the game midway through.
Yeah, you don't just lose to Breath Weapon and Tectonic Hazards and things like that.
It's very, very nice that way.
Also, Gut's stupid.
Now we're going to be getting into our creatures, which I'm going to just show off all the 1-mana creatures, which we're going to want to get down because we're going to be wanting to attack on turn 3 no matter what, so 1 mana is the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we have here are a lot of the standard aggressive threats. Clockwork Percussionist. Hasty is an artifact, so you can sack it off later. Same like Ginger Brute. This is kind of just worse Clockwork Percussionist most of the time. But sometimes that ability to be unblockable will get relevant.
Sometimes gaining life, too, matters.
Yeah, sure. But no, it is. And then we got Reckless Lackey here. It can... If it starts being a board stall and stuff like that, you can sack it off to get some mana or some draw back out of it and some mana fixing, which is always good. We got Tomb Raider, which is pretty much never going to attack on turn 1 unless I have exactly Great Furnace because of the singleton of the format.
Yeah, it's another thing of like people will see this, and I actually think this card is very cuttable in a lot of red artifact decks, and that sounds crazy to people who compare our format to Pauper because it's like this is an auto include in those decks, and it's like yeah, but you have more Great Furnaces, so it's a 2/2 on 1.
Yeah,
it's just
other
not...
3 artifact lands can't cast this on turn 1, and that's the problem. It's still good, though. Like, 2/2, like a Goblin Guide on turn 2 is still good.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then we got Goblin Blast Runner here, which is actually kind of nice because it can get Menace on the turn where you're attacking it with Gut and stuff like that. So what you'll do is attack with it, use Gut's ability to sack off something. Now you're attacking with a 3/2 Menace and a 4/1 Menace, just off of this regular 1-drop.
And then the way that declare attackers and declare blockers happen, it gets Menace before they get the chance to block.
Exactly.
So
then we got probably like generally the best one, except for maybe Clockwork Percussionist, Vildarn Epicur, because it comes in, deals damage immediately, and creates an artifact off to the side beside itself. So now this is 2 bodies on 1 mana.
This is your version of like the Thraben Inspectors, right? Like,
yeah. Because I can't run those. And then we got Vault Scourge here.
I can't run this.
Yeah.
I would. If Verger could play this, it would play this.
Yeah, Vault Scourge is very fun, very annoying, comes in on turn 1, is just a nice, consistent artifact beater.
Phyrexian mana was never a mistake and led to any broken cards.
No, it's great. I don't see the problem here. Then we'll...
Gitaxian Probe.
Yeah. What I'll get on to next are what are effectively rocks, but also creatures, which are Barb Batterfist, Head Splitter, and Black Mage's Rod.
As a reminder, they did make an Assassin's Creed set. I know that lots of people forgot that set exists.
Yeah.
But it did happen.
Yep. And the nice thing about the Head Splitter specifically is its token comes with Menace. It's not on the artifact. So no matter what, that 1/1 assassin will have its Menace, even if I sack this off, which I intend to sack this off very often.
That's true with all of them, right? They come with a token, and then with a flexible thing that you could sacrifice.
Yeah, the problem is Black Mage's Rod is generally the best one, because
yeah,
casting non-creature spells, I have all of these artifacts. But if I sack off the artifact, I'll no longer have the ability to just start hitting my opponent in the face with it. But it's probably best to just get that value and leave another body. And also, a lot of the effects that I have that sack stuff could also sack a creature. So I could just sack that off and move this over.
Yeah, it's also one of those things that we talk about, I think, every episode, which is like consistency, right? Like normal Pauper decks, probably not that interested in Head Splitter. But they played Barb Batterfist and maybe the Black Mage's Rod.
Yep.
Here we want that third copy, so we're playing Head Splitter.
So I found a third one.
Yeah.
Then what I got here are some artifact payoffs. Makeshift Munitions can sack off a bunch of my junk when I just need to dome my opponent in the end game.
Like your Head Splitter.
Yep. Packed Altair is just sitting here being a beefy body that'll just be annoying and also just make more relevance to my small stuff. And Glaze Fiend is just a real interesting card that can start getting in for a surprisingly high amount of damage if left unchecked. It is a very hit or miss card, but I do like it here just to have that potential to just pop off and be like, turn 3, 1-drop, 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 hit you for 6.
It's one of those things that I think Canadian Highlander players are like, play for your nutso turn 1, right? And your nutso turn 1 is like something on turn 1, this on turn 2, something on turn 3 that makes 2 artifacts, rawr, blah, blah, you know, and it just makes that nut draw even better.
Yeah.
Also, it's a Shards of Alar card, and if anybody's played with this in Shards of Alar Limited, and you're old, like me, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then what I got here are a couple of unearthed creatures that are artifacts, which is nice because they can actually really trick up, like, the Glaze Fiend triggers. Okay, I'll play Scrapwork Mutt. I'll sack it to Makeshift Munitions. Okay, I'll replay Scrapwork Mutt. I got 2 triggers off of this, and I got to sack something. And then if I had, like, 6 mana, I could even sack this again.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, what I could just do is attack with it and sack it to Gut when it's unearthed. So it doesn't matter that it died because it made a 4/1, so it effectively made an even bigger body with a better ability.
Yeah. You don't get rid of the Unearthed Exile trigger if you do that, right?
It still gets exiled,
It's a replacement effect of, like, whenever it's going to die next,
yeah,
get in the exile bin.
And then Molten Gatekeeper can just pop off sometimes. Like,
this card's very underrated.
Yeah, like, it comes in for 1 mana from the graveyard, and then deals 1 damage for every other creature coming in.
I've wanted to play, like, a Jund Graveyard deck for a while. and this is definitely the reason why I want to play red. Yep. But you guys saw this in Arabella, and it did nothing. But hopefully it'll do something this time.
And then we got the namesake stuff. Affinity. Big boy who has affinity, good. Small boy has affinity, comes in for free, good enough. Really, really annoying card.
Best thing that they've ever, at least at common, best thing with affinity they've ever printed that's legal.
Yeah, and like one of the nice things about this is you can turn 2 this in a lot of games if you go like turn 1 Voldar and Epic, or turn 2 Blood Fountain, and then into Refurbished Familiar or something. That's probably not the best example, but like there are a lot of ways to just like Blood Fountain, 1 drop, then this. Mm-hmm. You immediately just get a Refurbished Familiar on turn 2, and that'll start beating it in the air. Yeah. Real tough.
I said that's legal because obviously cranial plating is like...
Yeah, we don't have plating or RAM because those are banned Pauper for very good reasons.
Yeah. And then, RAM, I think, was one of the first cards that was release banned or something like that. It was like one weekend you could play it.
Yeah.
And they were like...
Oh, no, it was banned pre-release.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Gavin Verhey was like, hey, we had to print this for the limited format. We know this is bad in Pauper.
Yeah, very bad.
But then I got removal spells.
What a cranial plating came with the body.
Yeah. Which we got 2 that can't hit the face and 2 that can hit the face. Galvanic Blast in this is basically just better Bolt 99% of the time. And Bolt is Bolt.
Yeah.
Galvanic Discharge is here just because I need to take out creatures sometimes, and this will just help stuff get out of the way. It's cheap, 1 mana. And I think it's better than most of the other random 1 mana half bolts. Like, I could have played Chain Lightning, but I do like the flexibility of this being an instant. But if you want to slot in Chain Lightning for more face damage, feel free to.
Yeah, and it speaks to like the triad of red removal spells that really gets played in our format, which is Lightning Bolt, Galvanic Discharge, Chain Lightning.
Yeah.
When do you play the Chain Lightning? And in general, I think more aggressive decks don't want this, do want the Chain Lightning, and more mid-rangey decks do want this, don't want the Chain Lightning. Because you have to think of yourself, how often do I want this to go face? And if you want it very often to go face, play Chain Lightning. If you don't, play Discharge.
Yeah, and then I got Cast Down, because it kills most creatures.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talked about my deck tech. I've actually pivoted towards Go for the Throat over this.
Yeah, which all these artifact creatures might make you
regret. Yeah, it's yeah. You get burned in this moment, which I think is fair. I think maybe just cutting it entirely was wrong. Maybe I should have moved it to the sideboard.
But yeah, notably that can kill Gut, which is a very relevant ability. But Cast Down kills most big creatures, and if I have like anything gumming up my way, this is what I really want. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's here. Then we're going to get onto the mana base. Going to just start with the non-basics, which we got Artifact Land, then Artifact Lands. The best one generally is Great Furnace because I have mostly red 1-drops, as we saw. But like Vault of Whispers is good second best, and Darksteel Citadel is here. Drawswords Bridge is nice. It fixes the only awkward thing coming in tapped, but
consistency, right? That's why you're playing this.
Yep.
Like if you could cut this, you would. It's just I want a 4th Artifact Land.
Yep. And then I got some general red-black lands, Geothermal Bog, which can just come into play tapped and help fix my mana. Because I'm not playing any land cyclers, but it's still just there as another thing that's good.
You don't really need them, right? Like you're more aggressive for them.
Yeah.
Like,
which actually, now that I think about it, this probably could have been like a Bloodfell Caves, but because it would have been technically better since I don't have any way to search up land types. But that's fine. Then we got Jagged Barrens because it can hit my opponent in the face, and Razor Trap Gorge because it's going to come in untapped in pretty much every late game scenario. Either I somehow got down to 13 or my opponent somehow got down to 13.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to come in untapped if it's past, like, turn 5. Mm-hmm. And that's real good.
What do you think about the... Spider-Man is hot in our minds at the time of this recording because we're just looking over some cards. What do you think about the what are they, the Scry lands, the Surveil lands?
I think I personally would not want to run this because, in my experience, I'm using my mana pretty much all the time with this.
I mean, in general, do you think they have a place, or...
Yeah, and slower controlling decks. Like, we were already seeing the Strixhaven ones. This is just finishing the cycle.
Yeah.
And then I just got 12 basics. 6 swamps, 6 mountains, because it's a relatively 50-50 mana spread deck. Like, the only awkward thing is maybe you might want more mountains if you're thinking about the start of the game where you have all these red, like, aggro creatures. Mm-hmm. But I think overall, like, if I remember correctly, my split is pretty even. Yeah, maybe a little more red, but there's so many colors cards in here that it's not as rough on the mana base if you have, like, a slightly incorrect split percentage-wise, and I think this
and 12 basics is still, like, that's, you know.
Yeah.
And you're also not really giving up that many, because you have, what, like, 4 dual lands in your deck?
And I think more than anything, I just want at least 1 land of every color, because Outworks I can supplement, like, turns by being, oh, I play a couple colorless cards with the mana that's not doing as much right now. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just works out.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be moving on to sideboard here, so I'm going to get all this other stuff out of the way. So, I was just handed these. I don't actually know what order these are coming in, but I'll talk about the packages as they're handed to me. Cool. We got the blasts against blue decks. It helps just against any blue deck, period. This is a red deck. That's kind of just how it works.
I think it's become a meme of this channel that the blasts, if just in general, if we're in red, assume these are in our sideboard.
Yeah.
If we're in blue, assume that the blue ones. If we're in both, they're probably both there. Yeah. It's just one of those things that, like, that's probably tailored to your meta, too. Like, if blue decks just fall off a cliff, you wouldn't play this. But, like, right now our meta is just the two of us playing in our basement. So
yeah. And it just kind of is... We prep a sideboard for the meta rather than, like, our specific matchup, because...
Again, everything, don't think of, like, as we said in, like, week 1, I think, don't think of our deck text as, like, we're the smartest people alive. This is the 100% right way to do it. It's more of a primer showing you all the options that you can do. And the sideboard especially with that.
Yeah. Then what we got here is a Monarch package, because if we're playing against any control deck ever, it's like, oh, hey, they don't have enough creatures to actually take this from us. There is literally 0 punish to running these.
Yeah.
That's when they'll come in against control decks. Easy peasy. Then what we got here is a bunch of stuff that can deal 1 to stuff. And then, well, this one has a flexibility, but that's what these we are here for, is like tokens decks, things that are going real wide. Tectonic Hazard will get rid of all of them. Also hit your opponent in the face. Same for End the Festivities. These are literally the same card. And then Electricity is nice because it can come in on your opponent's turn. So say they'll drop like 2 more elves and then are about to like buff their board. And then it's like, no. You just drop 2 extra elves, gone.
Yeah.
So that's real good. Cast into Fire is a little more nuanced. Could deal the same thing of like dealing with a couple of like key elves like Quirion Ranger, that kind of thing. Like just be like, hey, you're not going to be able to have a mana engine because I took out your 2
the annoying guys. Ones, right?
Yep. Like, or it can exile an artifact, so it has that flexibility of what matchups I can bring it in, and that's generally very helpful. Then next, what we got is, I don't know why these are handed to me in this specific order, but we got Snuff out here, and I'm actually going to send these other ones to the side and grab Extract a Confession here, because these are both like big removal stuff to help in matchups where my opponent's creatures are too big for me to deal with the 1-drops. Especially like with stuff like Extract a Confession, I can make sure that they're sacking the biggest creature. So like if they have Tolarian Terror and a bunch of birds, they're sacking the terror.
Or a card that we keep mentioning, Murmuring Mystic, right?
This does not work like that because it says Greatest Power.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, it kills the Tolarian Terror.
Yeah.
Or Cryptic Serpent.
Yep, exactly. And that's part of why it's...
Or like a Troll. Most decks, you know.
Yep. Okay, and then what we got here is a little bit of Hand Hate for Control and Duress, which against Control, like, it's just helpful to have that little bit. And not much more to say about that. Got a couple of Graveyard stuff, which the notable nice thing about these is if I'm bringing these in as Graveyard Hate, they're artifacts, so I wouldn't be playing Fairy Macabre, because I can just sack these off for value if I really need to.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like with the Nihil Spellbomb, I can also pay its mana cost even if I sack it to something other than its own ability.
Yeah, you can pay 3 mana to draw 3 cards, kind of in a weird way.
Yeah. Or like I can pay 1 mana with Gut to draw 1 card.
Oh, sure. That works.
It's like, oh, I didn't end up needing to remove their graveyard this game. Okay, this will be a 4/1 that drew me a card.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's the difference between my version is running Fairy Macabre and yours isn't, because you value the artifact, I value the 2-power creature to hit off Militia Bugler.
Yep. And then what we got here are a couple other small things, which are Unexpected Fangs, which can put a +1/+1 counter on something and give it a lifelink counter. So say if you're playing against an aggro deck that might have trouble with dealing with some of your creatures, like you can just stuck this on something pretty big like a Mirror Enforcer or maybe a suited up Gut if it's already got a couple counters on it.
Or your Skeleton.
Oh yeah, you can just throw this on Skeleton and gain 5 life too.
5 life, yeah.
You're not always going to be expecting this to like gain you a bunch of life over a couple turns, but at worst, most games this will gain you at least 5
And like
life.
a lot of the time, gain 5 life 2 for winning people.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just like a huge bite that, like, you know, Toraki or Arabella just can't come back from.
Yep. And then we got Flaring Pain, which is to deal with damage prevention and stuff like that from the white deck. So like if they have like Prismatic Strands, anything like that that's trying to like blow me out in combat, I can have ways to deal with that. Also, if we randomly have a Turbo Fog, it's just good to have.
Yeah.
Also, it can stop stuff like Guardian of the Guildpack's prevention.
Oh, it can.
Yeah, because that's how protection generally works, as far as I understand. If I'm if I'm wrong in the comments, just correct me, call me an idiot, do whatever. It's engagement.
I think you're right, because I think it comes up in Canadian Highlander.
Yeah, I'm 90% sure
with Skull Crack and True Name Nemesis.
Yeah.
If you Skull Crack the opponent and your True Name Nemesis, like if I attack you with a 3/3 and you block with your True Name, and I Skull Crack you, damage can't be prevented. Protection will try to prevent my 3/3 from dealing 3 damage, but it can't. So your True Name will die. So I do believe that gets
Yeah, because people would also do that with the One Ring, where they would use the giant that prevents damage on a creature, and then it would stop the One Ring's protection on their face.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep, I remember that being a modern play where the Bones Crusher Giant or whatever it's called was being played.
I'll put all these card images as we're talking.
Yeah.
If you're here like a Pauper player and you have no idea what the One Ring or True Name is, they should be on your screen. We're very old and we play lots of formats.
Yeah. Magic is a fun game and has a multifaceted way to play. But that's the end of my deck tech, and we'll be seeing you in the match later this week.